Where do I flip the camera? Alright guys, sorry about that. I always forget to switch the camera back over. Anyhow, today we are going to be talking about learning disabilities. In this video, there are I am not a teacher, just so you know that. I am not a teacher. I do not have a degree in this. I am just explaining what it was like for me in learning disability classes. But back then, it was not called learning disability. It was called special education. Now, I did this in the 80s. This is about the late 80s and the to the 90s. Anyhow, what is a learning disability? Below, you will see all those links, all the definition, what the definition is, and everything. I will just be describing my point of view, since there are many different types. Learning disabilities, such as, for example, dyslexia, that is common for people to be in learning disability rooms. Now, just so you know, it's different from when I was in there. So, when I was in there, you could be put in there for dyslexia, people that had severe developmental, they put them all in one room, and you stayed in that room. Now, it's not like that now, from what I understand. That the students go class to class and they just get help, on the side. That's how it was in high school for me. And I think I was in 10th grade, I was a sophomore, and we would have classes that we would go to as a homeroom, which would be our learning support teacher, and we had 2 rooms. There was other disability classrooms. One person would teach math, another one history, one English, like that. So they weren't all in one room. They were spread out. And this teacher may not just teach people with learning disabilities. They could be teaching mainstream classes as well as those as well as the learning disability classes. So that's what it was nowadays, basically. But then I graduated in 2002. It's been a long time. I'm getting old. So back to middle school. Now remember, this is the late 80s, early 90s. They had, even in the school stay when I went to high school, I told you about the learning disability classes. But they also had a disability room, which the people with disabilities would stay in. Those are the people with severe developmental problems, are the ones that could not learn outside that room or had behavioral problems. So they would stay in that room. The other thing I didn't like about high school with learning disabilities, it's probably is different nowadays, is that when we went to lunch, all the kids from learning disability classes, both classes, the one teacher was called Mrs. Smith. She did the people that had severe developmental disorders, stuff like that. I was not part of that, but I was in the other ones. But anyhow, at lunchtime they combined those two in one table. Only all the learning disability kids would sit at one table, which actually made them more of a target. Which I don't know why they did that, but that's how it was back then. So going back to the late 80s when I was in middle school, they would, actually, I can remember a little bit in elementary school. Elementary school, for when I can retain, was that you were put in a learning disability class. You would stay in that class. Unfortunately, with learning disabilities, that did not change the whole way through school. Elementary school for me, They taught us the basics. Basic math, basic spelling, basic grammar, which you see I'm not good at grammar. Things like that. It's your basic math and basic everything. And this continues the whole way through until you're done with school, the whole way through high school. They never teach you anything else. They retest you the next year, and it doesn't matter where you land, unless you score really high, you're going to be taught the same stuff over again. So, when I went to middle school, I told you they still had that. They still had the room where all people with disabilities or learning disabilities were in one room, but they had teacher assistants, TAs, and they would bring us up to certain rooms. Like I was considered a mainstream and a learning disability kid. I'm trying not to use special education because that's what we called it. But we would go up there to the room. Mine was I'm an auditory learner. Below is what's listed, what an auditory learner is. So I cannot read anything. I cannot retain what I read. I would have to read the same page of a book 5 times before I could retain it. Because I keep forgetting. So in those classes mainly, so that put me in mainly all classes I had to learn. They had to teach me specially. And in middle school, when you could go to, like I had some mainstream classes. But with that, if there was a test that was being done or a quiz, I had to bring that quiz or test down to the learning support room, and they would read the test to me. After we would study, they would have groups that people that were in the same mainstream classes. They would kind of keep all the learning disability people together so they could cover that information in class and read it to people and have quizzes and stuff. So that's how they did for us. Unlike people that would have homework, that was our homework by going to that room. We still get homework though for basic stuff. I'm trying to keep this video short, but when I got to middle school, like I'm saying right there, there was also another developmental room, which were people with severe developmental issues, which some of them couldn't even speak. So I went to that room. That room, you could an option of you could get extra credit by walking and helping those people in that room, which I don't agree with. You shouldn't get extra credit for helping someone. Also, all through school, that you can probably tell, I have a speech impediment. And all through school to high school, I hardly ever went to those classes. The reason why was because I was always getting teased, messed with about how I spoke, and I felt by going to those classes that I'm going to be a target and all that. So they tried to do it through high school. They tried to do it through middle school and then high school. But when I got to high school, they kind of gave up the late now. You're out. Because I never did the walk. Which nowadays I have a problem with my R's and W's. So, anyhow, I told you what it was like high school and all that for me. I guess that's really about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how it was for me. But if you're in a learning disability class today, please tell me what it's like for you. Or if you're a teacher, please tell me. Anyhow, just remember, if you have a learning disability, you're not the only one. Anyhow, this has been Rainbow Pagan. You have a blessed day.